I just finished watching Superman literally out of the theater less than 2 hours ago. I'm very, very conflicted as it stands. My letterbox review is up, and if you came here from there, I appreciate you clicking on the link. Essentially, this movie, in my opinion, is too good to make me feel the way I feel right now in my eyes. Let me. It was very hard to find a movie that was more um, exciting to look forward to than Superman. It's the first solo Superman movie in over 10 years. It's directed by a fresh take on DC Studios, but a well-established comic book adapting director James Gunn, who's done Guardians of the Galaxy and the Suicide Squad. This feels like it should work. It's starring an actor who's making a breakout role, as this is his breakout. Nicholas Holt is well established. He's playing Lex Luthor, Rachel Brosnahan. Look, the cast isn't the problem. I find the cast great. If we want to start there, David Cornsweet Superman, and now I see him as Superman. That man will be Superman for the rest of my movie watching, my life. Actually, David Cornsweet is the Superman that I am seeing for the first time, and I am able to really look at. That's that guy. That's the guy it's supposed to be. And I felt the same way with Rachel Brosnahan's Lois Lane. I felt the same way with Lex Luthor, Nicholas Holt. I think the cast is perfect. I think they are fun. They bring young energy. They deliver their emotional roles really well. There are some great scenes in this involving some um, dialogue that I think are really good as well. I think that the cast isn't the problem here. I don't think that there's many problems here. Matter of fact, the first hour of this movie, I am sitting in the theater locked in and fully enjoying my experience. Superman is saving civilians. He's dealing with problems in Metropolis. He is fighting aliens, fighting bad guys. He is your friendly neighborhood Superman, if you will. He doesn't kill. He doesn't um, beat in bad ways. He simply just does his job. He protects and serves. He is the ultimate cop. And then we enter sequences. We kind of get a backdrop. He's coming back from the what I can only assume is the Middle East. He's just stopped a war. He broke international rules and he didn't follow guidelines and he went against an ally. Um, the most realistic comparison I could do is imagine a Superman defended Palestine is pretty much the result what James Gunn's going for here, and he has the weight of the media on his shoulders at this point, and so that's the backdrop that you come into this movie with. There is no Superman landed from Krypton, and oh my god, no, it's very how can I say this like you already know. You're caught up by the time this movie starts. You know who Superman is. You know where he comes from. You wouldn't be here watching this movie if you didn't. So here we go. So what is the problem? What's the problem with Superman? Why am I sitting here, not as thrilled, I guess, as other people? This movie is so much fun until it decides to do two. It's a compound choices. Actually, it does one thing that set me off into a mode of this is exactly why superhero movies are failing, and then the second one was just a reach that didn't need to happen. I'll break it down. I'm trying to break this down without spoiler territory, but I'm afraid I got no choice. Uh, like no real spoilers, but there is a phenomenon of the split universe type of thing going on in this. Like there's a universe, what they like. There's a portal to a new whatever. Like there's a reason Marvel has gotten so tiresome for me in recent memory is because of this like universe multiverse nonsense. Like, oh, that's because you're not on Earth 1482. Like like you're like who cares? Like just keep stories grounded, keep them interesting. And I think for the first hour of Superman, James Gunn's doing that really well. He's keeping you locked in. It's Superman versus Lex Luthor. This war is raging. You find out why. Clark is dealing with personal issues with Lois. The Daily Planet's in full function. It's exciting. And then he crosses a portal into the like all other world universe type of thing. And I'm like, oh my God, no, why are we doing this? Like, why does James Gunn feel the need to include what Marvel has suffered with in this film? It doesn't make much sense to me. And I flat out don't really understand the choice at all, and it's a frustrating choice to me. It's a choice that set me off in the moment, and I'm like, you got to pull it back. You have to pull it back, and then he starts pulling it back, and you get back to Earth. You get back to Earth, and the film has a conflict. He goes back home. There's something, and then there is the second thing, which just kind of sent me over the edge, and I'm like, I can't like this movie more than I'm trying to. And there is like a thing that has to do with cloning technology that gets introduced in the third act just for the sake of having like a bad guy. And I'm like, you could have done anything else and I would have been happier with it, but you decide to do like this cop out lazy ass ending. Like it's lazy to me, and I don't understand because comes from a place of I wish this movie was a knock out of the park. Like I wish this movie was the best Superman movie ever, and in some ways, I guess it is. When this movie's in the right pocket, it's undefeated. I will say that. Like when this movie is in its stride, and it is slowly unfolding and you're understanding who Superman is, although he's already there. Like there's no need to introduce him, he's there, but like now we work with like understanding the setting of the world that we're going to be in. That is interesting. That part of this movie is near perfect. It's as soon as you exit that pocket where things start to get shaky. And the reason this movie feels the need to do that is a little baffling to me. Like you don't have to get out of the pocket. Superman can be like a grounded villain, a grounded hero. I think that's a more interesting take on the story. Like what if Superman just really had to deal with the war in the Middle East? Like, and what if Superman had to deal with the backlash of it? And what if Superman had to deal with Lex Luthor who's trying to undermine him? These are all storylines that happen, yet Gunn and DC like insist on adding more to his plate. And I think this is one of those instances where simple is better. I sit here and reminisce of Iron Man in 2008, which is the movie that kicks off the MCU. Well, Iron Man didn't have a convoluted storyline with layers upon layers. It focused on Iron Man. There is one bad guy. He will be there throughout the whole movie. We will get a third act finish with an epic duel. There is no sense, there is no need to convolute something that doesn't need to be convoluted. Um, but for some reason, they kind of do that in this, and that really bothers me. That actually makes me kind of sad because I wish I could sit here today and be like, Superman was the movie of the year, absolutely, and I'm giving it its flowers when it's good, because it's good for like 75%. It is great. It is a great time. There are enjoyments, there are fun bits in this, but overall there's something missing and something that feels like it's abandoned. And I don't know why we are obsessed with overcomplicating things just because we have a big IP in our hands. Um, that's really the angle that I kind of see this through is, oh, you have Superman. I guess you have to make the most convoluted plot of all time and juggle 7 storylines just to please fans. Like you don't have to do that. Fans would have been happy with a small story, and you take it and you go through it like that. We just saw it with Thunderbolts, which didn't make enough money at the box office, in my opinion. But if you would have made a story that like is similar to Thunderbolts in terms of scale, you would have picked up bags because you're Superman. So this to me is a real litmus test if people are tired of this superhero stuff, because this is unfortunately just another run of the mill superhero movie, but it's got some fresh faces and some fresh talent. And I guess that makes it more exciting. And but at the end of the day, I can't sit here and be like, that was enjoyable from front to back. When, yes, although it's a fun watch, there are some bits that just knock it down notches in a heavy way because they feel lazy or they feel like forced. Instead of telling a grounded story that might last 100 minutes, you tell a superficial story that lasts 2 hours. And I'm anxious to see where DC Studios heads after this movie, because I've seen the Suicide Squad by James Gunn, which I think is canon, and the Creature Commandos, which I also think is canon, and Peacemaker. And those are three hits. They're knocked out of the park. They're so much fun to watch. And then this is fun to watch, yes, but I expected a cleaner foundation for the DC Studios if this was the piece to build with. Just something a little cleaner. I will say it's a fun time. It's a great time. It swings for the fences, and sometimes it crushes it, and sometimes it doesn't. Um, but there are some elements of this holding it back from being truly, truly, truly one of the greatest comic book movies. And I feel like that is something that, not that I expected it to be, but as I was watching it, I'm like, this, if it stays the course, especially after that first hour, this could very well be one of the greatest comic book movies ever. And then it just kind of goes off the cuff a little bit from there. And the result overall, I give it a thumbs up. I encourage people to watch it. I encourage people to go watch anything they're interested in. I think Superman is fun. I think kids will enjoy it. I think adults will enjoy it. I think it's a lot of fun to watch Superman do Superman things, despite the, convoluted nature and how things may unfold. I'm not even going to get into the visuals today because there's no sense in doing that. You either like the look or you don't. I think the look looks good in some instances and it looks a little wacky in others. Um, the same thing with the dialogue. Sometimes it sounds fantastic. There's a scene in here with Lois Lane and Clark Kent as they do an interview with each other, and that scene is fantastic. And then there's other elements with some lines that are a little cringy and on the nose, i.e., Superman and Lex Luthor dialogue more often than not. But anyway, look, I'm looking forward to see what the DC Studios does next. I will be rewatching Superman, and I will be iterating how my thoughts about it on Letterboxd for sure to have a better idea of how I feel about this going forward. But overall, it's a good time. It's a fun time, and I suggest people watch it. But take everything with a grain of salt. Don't expect something to impress you, because in reality, this is a Superman movie. It's a comic book movie. Don't expect the Dark Knight, I guess. That being said, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. If you like this video, you can give it a like, subscribe, and comment. If you didn't, feel free to share it to somebody who you think might. We're always looking to get new eyeballs on the channel. Thank you so very much for your time, and I will see you in the next one. Bye bye.